All right. A full house. Give another minute or two. Is everybody on that's supposed to be on?
Chris, this is Randy from Hogan Taylor's side. I believe so.
Okay, good, good. And how about GBQ?
May have one more, it looks like.
Okay.
Ken might be doing this.
So there was a video link in the invite which gave an overview. Oh, did everybody watch that? Or if not, I can do the overview.
I have not seen it.
So we'll start there. And so it'll go over the concept, what we do, how we do it, why we do it. And then I'll take questions. This is allotted for an hour and normally I do 30 minutes, so it should be plenty of time. I'll take about 10 minutes or so, just giving a high level overview. And then we'll take questions. So let me share my screen. Is this new for everybody? Are you guys already working with offshore staff or this is pretty much the first time?
Be new for Hogan Taylor.
Okay.
It'd be new for GBQ as well.
Right. So we're starting from scratch. Perfect. So with that in mind, let's go through our company. All right. So we're an offshore staffing provider dedicated to the CPA community throughout North America. I work with clients from sole practitioners upwards of anywhere from 600 to 700 person firms. All right. And so that small to mid-sized market, what we're doing is providing dedicated staff. We've been doing this 8 years and I've been with the company for 4. We're an American-based company. So you contract integrity. And we're based out of Houston. I'm actually in New York City. I worked remotely for 4 years and our team is well over 1,000 at this point. And so what we've done in the last 18 months, as far as adding staff, we've done in our first 6.5 years. So the demand has gone through the roof. And so we've been able to assure our clients that we have accountants, bookkeepers, tax preparers, admin support, audit, and anywhere from 1 upwards of 5, 6, 7 years of experience. And we'll get into that details later on. Some insight into our leadership team. I don't know if Sean may join or not. I report directly to Sean. Some of our global specialists. Mukun may join too. If not, I can still answer all the questions. And so insight into clients that we work with. Now, it's new for everybody, right? So you probably have hesitations, concerns, worries, excitement, everything, right? And so it's good to hear you have an open mind, all right? You have to have an open mind. As a remote worker in another country, okay? However, being a dedicated staff member for you, it's just like hiring a remote contractor at this point. And clients will call us for all different reasons, whether it's to mitigate capacity issues, they're looking for new revenue streams, just can't find anybody locally. I mean, this year is that has been almost 1 out of 2 calls. I've never seen that before. No matter what size city you're in, everybody's having issues finding 1, 2 years, 5, 10 years, no matter what. So the idea too is a long-term solution. It's not like you're going to give me 100 returns. I'll give it to my team. We'll send it back, call it a day. It's not our model. Year-round solution. All right. And we'll talk about the hours as well and how to mitigate that year-round. Where this doesn't work is if you forget about them. It's never implemented into your day-to-day operations. You have a pushback, right? So if everybody's on board starting at the top level, right, everyone's on the same page, this will work beautifully. In thinking about that, you have to be involved with the local onshore team, remote team, however you have it set up. And simply because if everybody feels that this is one cohesive unit, I mean, it literally takes off. All right. So are you going to get pushback from internal teams? Here or there, but if you're transparent on your approach to this for your firm's vision and goals, you'll be fine. But that's glad to have all you guys here because that's the idea, to learn, educate, and be supportive. And then, the whole testing phase of this project. So what do? We give you dedicated staff based on your specific requirements. We break it down into audit, accounting, and tax. And so the idea here is to be specific in what you're seeking, right? Including software requisites, years of experience, and we'll present you resumes and facilitate the interview process for you. And then you tell us who you want to hire, and you can build out a team. You could have 2 juniors, a mid-senior, and a manager, right? So however you envision this working, I've seen it set up to where there's a whole junior team with us offshore reporting to an onshore manager. And I've seen it vice versa, where there's a whole senior team offshore managing the onshore team. So is simply identifying the most pressing need in your departments and then mitigating that with providing the staff that getting us the requirements so we can give you the right staff to interview and hire. And they work as part of your team. So it is your workflow, your process, your checklist, your time tracking. There's no integrity protocol that you have to follow in order to work with us. It's how you envisioned it. So you have a lot of control. And then all of our associates will always work out of our offices in India. I'm probably one of 5 employees that work from home. But when we're working on clients' sensitive nature of the data security aspect, we have our associates reporting into an office. You're outsourcing a lot. You could mention this as outsourcing, it's fine. It's just to be clear, that's a completely different model. It's where I was saying you give me 100 returns and then I give it to my team, give it back to you. This is full transparency. However you communicate with your remote team now, Slack, BlueJeans, Skype, Teams is absolutely fine. The best advice I give clients is treat it like it's your own employee. Contract us, you pay us, but you are treating this like it's your own. The cost savings is nice. I see this more as an added value. It starts at $10 an hour. The reason why it's so low, it's not reflective of the quality of work whatsoever. It's like hiring in your markets 18 for 1 year experience, 18 to maybe $22, $23 an hour. It's comparable to $10 an hour as far as experience. But the cost is real easy. There's no cost obligation to interview, no other fees, no deposits, no upfront charges, no payroll taxes, no compliances, no benefits. That's our job. The facilitation interview process, again, done by us. On average, right now, 1 to 2 weeks. That's from submitting interview forms, sourcing the resumes, presenting them to you, telling us who you want to interview, setting up those interview dates. Don't change the way you interview too. I see that happen. There's no reason to. If you have a 2-step process, they meet with a director, manager, a partner, do the same thing, right? You want to make sure, yeah, they're competent, knowledgeable, but it's a good fit for your office. So if you do testing, if you hire consulting agencies, I mean, I've done it all. It's absolutely fine. We're just simply giving you the staff. Retention. So all new associates, we're constantly sourcing talent into our company. So when I say new associates, they've been pre-screened, vetted, background checked, and then even further skills, software, aptitude tests, English speaking, English writing skills. They clear that at HR manager interviews. Now they get an opportunity to interview with a client when their skill set matches up with their requirements. And since we're providing them work, all new associates will sign a 3-year employment agreement with integrity, not the client, right? This just ensures that we have stability for our clients and ourselves. And our average tenure is 5.4 years. So a lot of times and with clients starting out in the beginning, and they're looking to build an offshore team, they'll take a mid-senior, 3 to 5 years of experience, and groom them into a management role and help build out their offshore team. It's nice to have somebody that you built a relationship with to help you interviewing and hiring and building out a team. Replacing, it's like locally, you hire, doesn't work out, what do? You just start over. With us, let us know. Feedback, very important. Positive, negative, keep the lines of communication open. If any instances where we had to replace an associate, it's done within a week. We work with 100 new clients, we will replace an associate 10 times, right? So it's not prevalent, but nobody's perfect, and it's just the same type of procedure locally, except we're going to take care of that. India, right? Why are we in India of all countries? So the number one global, the number one function that's globally that's outsourced to India is accounting. All right. So there is so much presence out there. I mean, Deloitte started this 30 years ago, and I've had the pleasure of speaking to some of the partners who pioneered these projects. It was a mess. It was not fun. It was not easy. So it's really taken off over the last 10 years. So the ecosystem is still young, right? So that's why I was mentioning we have 1 to 5 years, 6, 7, 8. In some instances for managers or reviewers, we have. But the ecosystem is very young. But it's very cool to be an accountant out there, right? And any type of task that you see as tedious or bothersome, or your local team doesn't want to do it, you don't understand. Someone in another country has no problem doing it whatsoever, right? So it's a different culture, different ways of thinking. And I've witnessed this firsthand living in India 2 years ago for a couple months. So when you interview and get to build a relationship, always get to know them. What do they do for fun? You know, what do they, family, friends, vacation spots, right? It's just, it's no different than hiring locally. But where we're sourcing from. So we do not work with any of these companies, just FYI. However, we've sourced associates from all these companies. So that's what we're doing, was we're providing you relevant knowledge and skill set. They've worked in US GAAP. They understand the US taxation. We do the pre-screening. So we're very confident in our interview process, all right? Designations, CAs, Chartered Accountancy. About 50% of our staff are CAs. If you're looking for CPAs, EAs, about 5%. Right? It's not prevalent. And then the rest is simply experience, working for companies like this, doing the taxes, doing the accounting, doing the auditing. Right? So that's how they're getting their knowledge. And then the baseline with us is a 4-year accounting degree from the accredited university in India. This is starting a 1-year experience. Knowledge of working in QuickBooks and Microsoft Office. Then we could drill down further into CRM, ZRPs, tax softwares. And so this helps create a smoother onboarding experience. So don't have in your mind that this is going to be a 5-month learning curve. No, you have to onboard, right? That could be a week, 2, depending what your process is now. Any type of meetings you have, anything like that on a weekly basis, same thing. But that's why we're in India. And as we've expanded to the Canadian UK markets, we simply open up offices in India. Last couple things, and training, right? We all got CP credits, Canadian folks, CE. We mandate 20 hours a year for all of our associates. And then they have access to our own in-house content. We form partnerships to give them access to third-party content. So it's an environment that we foster professional growth. It's why we have good stickiness with our employees, 5.4 years. And then I told you about how you can promote your offshore team. Right? And then the idea here, 2019, 2020 was a little bit of a mess. So we don't have survey results for that. But 2 years ago, this gives you some insight on how this all works for our clients. This is an internal survey. So the same positions that our clients were seeking locally that they hired with us was actually a $61 million collective savings. $10 an hour is, $20 an hour is a big difference. Reduction in partners in time, right? You guys should not be doing bookkeeping or tax returns unless you want to, but the idea here is for you to drive more business, right? Work on core functions, develop the team in your local team, whatever it may be, but that was reduced by 21%. 61% average bill rate, $112 an hour increased to $180. So scalability, reduction of the average work week by 8 hours, revenue growth up 14 and profit by $10 an hour. So that's going to go up. But this gives you some insight on how this works collectively for our clients. And then we have the simplest hiring models and options. You have 20 or 40 hours per week. All right. And so you can scale back. All right. If you need seasonal 40 hours, but you don't have the work year round, but you need them for 20, that's fine. So you have 20 or 40, and then the pricing. So we do not have it listed out by bookkeeper account by the position, it's by experience. So as you're looking within your firm, junior, you hire bookkeeper, accountant, tax preparer. This is repeatable tasks, high volume data entry. Outline 15 tasks, show them once, be done, or All right, so no interpretation data or complex reporting. Mid-senior, this is what I mentioned a few times. Mid-senior, this also junior can handle one facet of tax, 1040 specialist, 1120S all day long, 1065, but that's it. And then a mid-senior encompasses working an individual and small biz taxes. For bookkeeping, this is like a full cycle, full charge bookkeeper, staff accountant, and then sometimes industry specific, and audit also can be a junior or mid-senior. Senior roles, all right, they are as hard to find in India as they are here. So they are only available full-time. And this is a role of a manager, reviewer, team lead, project manager type of profile. That's it, and to give you some insight into the other positions. So accounting roles we've had since day one. Non-accounting was introduced last year. I mentioned this because sometimes you may be looking for part-time. It's hard to find part-time talent no matter what's going on. So these are available 20 hours a week or 40. They're new to us, so some of them are readily available to interview. Some of them could be 30, 60-day interview process, but the accounting roles are 1 to 2 weeks. Questions or something you guys want me to review further?
Hey Chris, it's Tim Schwatter. Sorry I ran a little late getting in. Appreciate your time today. So remind me again, how many current associates do you guys have on your team? Did I hear 1,000?
Right around 1,000, give or take, yeah.
Okay, and are those 1,000 people that you have currently, are they already earmarked to work with customers of yours already? I mean, do you have capacity right now, or are you building up capacity? Because I'm guessing you're having a lot of these calls with a lot of different firms. What are you guys targeting for next year, and ability to be able to fulfill obligations? Yeah,
for sure. So in India, we have agencies that work for us. So my team and I's job is we keep a long sheet of just the profiles that are coming in, being requested, and their visibility for the HR team in India daily. I update it daily myself, so they could start sourcing right away. But any positions that are accounting related, we have anywhere from 20 upwards about 40 for accountants, bookkeepers, tax preparers, managers, reviewers, readily available to interview now, right? So, and then come October, November, that'll be upwards of 40 to 50 because the interview process starts getting a little bit longer too. We can only hold so many interviews and everybody starts looking. So we always have a bench. Yes, even during season, we will still have 5 to 10 readily available to interview. So it's year round for sure. So we're constantly sourcing. We have associates readily available. And then if we get inquiries with timeframes, we can staff up pretty quick.
And on the left side of this role player, that's probably the areas all of us would be interested in. Sure. Are there any of these areas that are new to you that you don't have that are new to you that you don't have a lot of experience in directing, or are these all things that you've been doing over the last 5 years or so?
Yeah. Accounting roles, they're readily available. Non-accounting, since I work a lot with sole practitioners, they need everything. They need all the help they can get. And so non-accounting roles, but even firms your guys' size, a few hundred, right? So they're looking at billing executives or payroll executives or some at part-time, that's all. But yeah, the accounting roles you could interview starting tomorrow.
And I saw the, so let's just take like a staff person, you say 1 to 2 years. Could some of those staff be 0 to 1 year, or are they all 1 to 2 year junior people?
1 year of experience, whether it's working for a American firm or company, or we took them on, all right, and then they grew within us, so it could be 1 year working with us as well. But no matter what, it's 1 year of experience.
And from a, like, credential-wise, like, education, experience, I mean, you guys are trying, we tell you what our need is and what our, I guess, our wish list is, and then you try to identify that individual that will fulfill that role. And as you indicated, we have the opportunity to interview this individual as to whether it's a right fit or not. How, from your experience, do you guys do a pretty good job of matching that up pretty easily, or is that a long process of identifying the right people and what we're looking for?
No, the best thing to do is, so I'm your resource to you ready to interview, right? Utilize me. I'll introduce you when I have all the information. So what type of information works, right? So you'd always want to have a mandatory section, right? They have to know this, otherwise I don't want to talk to them, right? And then you'll have a preferred section is the best way to go about it. And in most instances, we'll get mandatory and preferred. All right, and we're talking softwares and day-to-day tax, as long as it's within accounting, tax, audit. So we always have it listed as mandatory and preferred.
Mm-hmm. So maybe let's go into the 3 areas, I think, and we can, of needs. I think I would be looking at tax, assurance, and bookkeeping. So
Sure.
maybe talk about each of those respective practices and how that's worked. You know, we've talked to some other firms. As I understand, a lot of your associates have skill sets in the softwares, et cetera, that we're using, but it would just be helpful for these folks to hear how that kind of works in each of those respective areas, kind of at a high level.
Sure. So when it comes to, we'll take tax. First and foremost, we've staffed for Drake, UltraTax, CCH Access, Crosslink ATX, Pro Series, Pro System FX, and I hear those all day long. And so when I say experience, it could range. So that's another good thing to mention right now, is that you can determine if you want 3 years of Pro Series, 3 years of CCH Access, that's important to you, then fine, we'll source for that. But if you just have, Pro Series, QuickBooks, and Canopy, we'll present you the experience. And the experience at that point can range. It could be a few months, could be a few years. All right. So that's another thing to mention, is you want 3 years of this, 1 year of that, 2 years of this as part of your mandatory requirements. And then also, as you foresee it with the form knowledge, be specific. Are they going to just be doing 1040s and 1040s, that's it? Or is this going to be Schedule C, AE? Is it going to be 1120S, 1120? What are they going to, are you expecting them to complete a return within 45 minutes? It's fine to mention that. All right. So however you envision it, it's fine to list out specific requirements for the tax. When you get into bookkeeping, right? So for bookkeeping, softwares, again, we have Xero, Sage 50 accounts, World Accounting Power, QuickBooks, okay? And the day-to-day tasks, is it, or in any type of industries, or is it just general? Or are you focusing healthcare, real estate, construction? Is basic knowledge fine, right? Just to have a 1 to 2 years, or do you need somebody a little bit more advanced that could catch and produce some, do a write-up or two for certain clients, or you want to assign them a client? That's up to you. And then audit, what I see in audit is clients will build out teams that they need right away. So I've done it both ways. I've done it to where clients have hired teams of 4, 8, or 12 of just junior auditors. All right. And all they're doing is just the back end work within Caseware is usually the popular one, and producing the documents, and that's it. And then the deliverables are done by the seniors on shore. And so that's just reducing their workload. Or I've seen it the opposite way where clients have had the grunt work in place locally, but no one oversee it. So we had a team offshore that was overseeing that. So those are some of the ways to go about this as far as what do you have locally and what do you need? What are you seeking now? And if whatever you're seeking now, that's where you'll start with us.
And from a, do you have, in order to build, like, from a review standpoint of somebody's work, would we have to build that into, let's say if we hired a junior level person to do tax work, and then is it in order to get that stuff reviewed by somebody on your team, would we then need to hire a senior or somebody to that level to review that work, or is their work automatically reviewed by somebody before it comes back?
Yep. No, that's a really good question. So let me show you guys a setup of our office. Give me a second. So we do not have any reviewers or managers that are walking on our floors in the office. What we do have is you hire the senior role and they will oversee that associate's work. We do not file any taxes. You're still responsible to verify that reviewers and review it, and then deliver it to the client, just FYI. But that'll reduce the time that your onshore reviewers are currently spending in doing that. But it would be a separate role. And then 1 second. So this is one of our offices in Ahmedabad. So this gives you, and we do virtual tours too of this. So this is a recording pre-COVID. But if you guys ever want to do a virtual tour to see this, I set that up. We do it Monday to Fridays, usually from 11 o'clock to about 2 p.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Eastern. So as you see, we're a paperless organization. Everything has to be done off dual screen monitors. We don't print anything off. We store 0 data, and we have no softwares on the computers. So you set up remote access into your system software and documents. We'll work with your IT team, and it's whatever they're comfortable with is fine. There's no cell phones allowed in our workstation areas. We disable USB drives, discourages bringing a flash drive or hard drive. The associates are ours, so they're pre-screened, vetted, background check, as I mentioned. When you hire a team of 10, that's 10 full-time associates, we give you what's called a client suite. So they're literally working in an office together, something like this. We'll put computers in and set it up, something like that. So when you hit 10 full-time associates, we give you an office within our office. So that's the setup. So it would be a separate profile.
Okay.
Chris, can you share your slide deck with us?
Yeah, for sure.
So next question, will you address the time difference and how does that work from communicating with a person that we would begin to adopt as a team member as your model calls for? How does that work?
Sure. So yeah, India's smart. I mean, it's a gigantic country. They have one time zone. And then here we have half the size of India. We have 4 or 5 time zones. So the setup is 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. within the client's time zone, right? So 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's actually a full-time shift, including lunch and breaks. So if you hire part-time, it's within that window. And then we want you to have overlap. That's important to us. But having leveraging the early morning time zone difference, you guys, at first, you're probably thinking, what the heck? Why? No, I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. You don't have to. You'll onboard them, right? 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whenever you get in. But you want to leverage the early morning time zone difference with tasks that need very little oversight, or it's bogging down your local team, anything that can be done by a remote worker. Okay, so yeah, you'll have to think about how you can leverage that. But once you figure it out, it becomes awesome, because then you get to the office and yeah, you could review with the reviewer, you could sit down with your team, you could catch up, you can see all the tasks done that you normally are doing when you get into the office or your team. So 3 a.m. to 1 p.m.
3 a.m. to 1 p.m. So in the central time zone, how much of an overlap is that going to give us in the central time zone?
It'll be 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central then. It's within
Okay.
the client's time zone, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm New York City, right? If I was to hire, mine would be 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
So what is the difference? Is it 13 hours, 14
Let's
hours?
find out. Let's see. I think it's 9.5. What does this say
9.5.
here?
Okay.
I have Mumbai's time. It's 12:05. So yeah, 9.5.
Interesting. Okay.
Chris, are the employees, are they working completely then in our network environment? I mean, they need full kind of access. Do they typically have like one of our company email addresses or?
Yep. All they have access to is an integrity handle. We always recommend to set up a business email address. Yep. And then, however you have it set up for a remote worker, whether they're logging into a virtual server, or if you have a workstation that they're logging into, or you have an office server and you're allocating files and folders via VPN or an RDP, any which of those ways are fine. And so the IT teams would tell us what they want, and so we'll get it done on our side. But we even there's small widgets that need to be set up to access the servers. It's fine as well, but it's always going to be remote access.
Chris, I suspect that issue that you're talking about right now is a big one. I mean, companies are data sensitive, right, and secure, and we threaten each other like crazy with our data, right? Now we are going to onboard somebody that's a long ways away, and I'm sure over time you have had to make various accounting firms get comfortable with how it would really work. Do you give me, would you give us just a sense of like what you've learned from that process, and maybe what you didn't do right in the beginning, but where you're really good at it now? I mean, just give us a little history and feel about that.
For sure. Yeah. There's a lot that we do. I'm going to show you that right now. So it's the number one question, right? And I witnessed it firsthand when I went to India myself. I couldn't even get into the office building the first day, and I didn't have my phone, and I couldn't call my boss. So I just sat outside for about 30 minutes till he came. But it's like Fort Knox, and it's just because of what you said. They're not in local. Local could even be within your state. You're in another country. So you want to feel like you have control. So there's several things that we do. First and foremost, we just have some certifications in place. We have what's called ISO certificates, similar to SOC compliance here. It's we get audited by third party for the compliances that I spoke about and showed you guys. So we're also an American-based company. All right. So we have accreditation with the Better Business Bureau. And we are an organization that's approved for CPE and CE credits. I do the webinars. So we have affiliation with the IRS, and then the compliances which are in place. So you guys are able to see this. Multi-factor authentication. So let me paint a picture. And you have a web-based program, right? All you need to give me is an email address, login, and a password, and boom, I'm in, right? So that setup right there will be done this way. From our computers, which have to be logged on to our network, and then they could log on to the web-based program. So that means no one can log on to it outside the office. And that is done with our IT team. So the associates, unless somebody gives them a username, password, login, all that's done on the computers. They work at the same computers. It's one-time setup. In multi-factor authentication, they have a digital phone number that is only accessible from their computer. And that's what's given to you. And so you don't have to dial any long distance. And that's for texting and calling your associate when they're at work. So the next thing is the credibility that we built. We've done this 8 years, right? No security breaches to the state. The clients are very happy, and when they're happy, they share good experiences. So we have strong online reviews. I've had the pleasure of hosting some of the video testimonials with my clients, a year or two later about their experience with us. And I'll share all this information with you as you're doing your due diligence. And we work with CPA firms, right? There's many staffing agencies, but they work in retail, construction, restaurants. We're just CPA firms all day long. So we understand the sensitivity. And then, as I mentioned, we always if you want to visit our offices, take that flight over by all means, or we could set up a virtual tour. The idea is full transparency. And then everything's simply in writing. So within our agreements, we have the protection of data security. I'll share this with you guys too after the call. Confidentiality and data security is within our agreement. We have all of our associates sign, that's on this screen, confidentiality agreements with us, so they're not going outside their scope of work. They're not reaching out directly to your clients. And then we have a 15-page IT policy, which gives every aspect of our internet. So I'll also share this with you and can be shared with your IT teams.
Okay.
And so you have a lot of control for sure.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
Any pushback from any of those 500 firms and their like APL carriers, of accounts professional liability carriers, about adding staff and workers from a different country and how that might impact whether their work product is covered? Anything like that you've had to deal with?
So if there's been few instances, and all they ask for is their insurances, which we provided. So we have E&O, professional liability, and we also have cybersecurity insurance. And that's all I've been asked for. And so we have that in place. I'll share that with you too. Yeah, so that's the only instances is that they said, well, did they have insurances in place for anything? And that's the only thing that I've seen that's been asked for.
So it's a pretty impressive presentation today, Chris. Is it truly as simple as like when we're off of this call and you share some documents and stuff, I just pick up the phone and hey, Chris, let's start with this. I need this. And we get started? Is it that easy?
So I'm glad you're seeing, yes, the idea is to showcase the simplicity of it, right?
Okay.
But let me ask it, the question I get asked the most is, what is the number one thing where not necessarily this doesn't work, but that can be frustrating for clients? And here's my answer. It's workflow process, okay? So, and it's just simply with a remote worker, and because you have the time zone difference a little bit, and you want to be able to mitigate through that. So 1 to 2 weeks for onboarding, it could be 1 to 5, 6 weeks. All right. So working out that process. And this is for remote workers. If you've already done it and you have it down pat, then it's just leveraging the early morning time zone. So it is very simple. I mean, our cost model, the hiring, what we're expecting from you, or what's expected from us. Yes, that's the idea, full transparency. But the workflow process, like sometimes clients interview, hire, and they just think everything gets done magically. Don't forget about them, right? You have to, whoever's working with them has to work closely with them in the beginning to make sure that this gets off the ground well. But other than that, yeah, it's very simple.
Been doing it for 8 years. So
yeah,
you've had 500 firms sign up for at least one person, and you've got
exactly. Yeah.
1,000 currently, and you got a 30, 40 person, bench on deck. So,
again, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Impressive presentation again, Chris. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. Any other questions before we wrap up?
What industries do you see clients utilizing your teams most for?
Industries. I'm not sure about the industry. I mean, clients have asked me, actually happened yesterday, healthcare industry and dentistry. The client just works with dentists, every single dentist practically in America. And we have a bookkeeper that he's interviewing that has a healthcare background. right? So as far as specific industries, I don't have that information. What's requested from us in general is tax, bookkeeping, audit. So taxes are number one requested, bookkeeping and audit. So we have robust staff, 1 to 6 years of that type of experience.
Chris, what's your experience in the employee benefit plan audit space?
So we have, it's so funny. Somebody asked me this yesterday, and I actually have statistics. So we have 15 associates with 3 to 5 years of experience right now to interview. Of audit itself, 20% is of EBP. And as a company, the audit comprises of, I think it was 30 or 30, I think right, 25 or 30%. So just for employee benefit plan.
Okay.
And we also do, what do you have, HUD, right? Yellow
Yeah.
Book,
Yep.
government. I think some of them are interchangeable. Those are the most popular ones I've heard. But somebody asked me about EVP yesterday, and I just got those statistics. So yeah, we have
Okay.
somebody signing up to interview some of those, but we have 15 right now.
You talked about a couple of different strategies that people have deployed in utilizing your team members. What's been the most successful where you see that kind of being commonly used?
Great question. So when a firm of 10 or even a firm of 300, right? So to put things in perspective, each one of them have multiple needs, and they get excited and they want to hire all at once. And we've done that before, and it worked. It just took forever. It was a lot of headaches, and it wasn't fun. So when you're looking at this, it's very important to identify the most pressing need, right? Even within your own department, what is the most pressing need? Where do we need the help right now? And this is a great way to involve the local team. Have a meeting with them. Guys, what can we take off your plate that a remote worker anywhere in this globe can do? And when you put it like that, and then you start introducing the team in India, this creates a great working environment. And you'll get certain tasks, and so that could be taken off the plate, whatever you're trying to do for the local team, whether changing the roles or making more advisor, whatever it may be. So it's very important to just identify the most pressing need, whether it's in, so if it's in bookkeeping, where is it at, right? Do we need the review side? Do we need just some mid-seniors to kind of help the seniors out? Or are the seniors just tired of doing all of the work and you need a team of juniors, right? And so, but if you're a firm and you're covering like the bookkeeping and audit and tax, and you try to hire all that at once, it'll work. It's just going to be real messy. So within your department, identifying at that point where you guys need the help, and just pinpointing it, and then just build from there. And so if you need a team of 4 right now, that's fine, but it should be like 4 juniors. Or if you're trying to build out a whole tax team, a couple juniors, a senior, mid-senior, a senior, that's fine too. But it's just identifying the pressing need like this second, because if you start thinking down the line and you need some of this in the future or that, and you get excited and you put them all in the mix, it'll work. But again, it's gonna be headaches.
As you think about those teams that you talked about, does it work better to have like a local kind of authority figure with those junior folks, or have you seen people be able to manage from afar easily? I mean, like for us, we tend to think our new hires need to come into the office to get started, right? So like, do you see people pairing up at least 2 at a time or something?
Absolutely. Even if mapping them to a senior, yes. So if you have 4 juniors offshore, there's a senior onshore who's totally responsible for them. It's part of the interview process, knows the team, knows what's expected, and he's managing that. Yeah. Or if it's just mapping them to somebody locally, if you have 4 juniors onshore, 4 juniors offshore, so they're working together, make them work together. And so they're holding each other accountable for the work to be done. So whether it's two juniors working together and holding each other accountable, or having an onshore manager overseeing them, or having an offshore manager managing that team, reporting back to your onshore manager is another option too. So those are a few ways.
At what point do we work locally? And whenever I say locally, I mean like US based contact versus our staffing contact. Is it kind of like with a temporary agency where you're only kind of bringing in the agency count rep at the hire, at the term, or their reassignment, and you're primarily working with your employee? Or how does the account rep relationship play into the overall engagement with the team members?
So good question. So let's go through the next steps. So it's identifying the needs and letting me know, and then I will generate the interview form links. You review, submit it. That kickstart the process, and then you're introduced to the team in India, sourcing. All right, and then you tell us who you want to hire. At this point, you need your account manager. Okay, so they usually oversee anywhere from 10 to 12 clients, and they will work closely with you every single week, the first month, and then you'll set up monthly meetings, bi-monthly, quarterly, however you guys see fit. And this is the person that you work with for feedback about your offshore team. Positive, negative, just let them know, right? So don't, it's very important to make sure that, yes, you're happy, but if something's going off or you're not happy with one associate, let us know, right? Because we replace them. Also, for anything that's non-routine related, holidays, time off, we need more people. We need to change the hours, shift timings. Okay, so yeah, the associates, they're just getting the work done that you need, but you'll be appointed an account manager that you work closely with in the beginning, and who's available for you for anything work related, non-routine.
And these individuals, they're employees of yours or contractors?
Employees, great question. Yeah. So you're contracting integrity, you pay us, right? However, when you're doing that, you're able to interview and hire our employees. Yes.
And just out of curiosity, what are they getting compensated in general on these fees?
Yeah. So this is why our model is so simple, is because what we do, right? So like I said, $10 is equivalent to 18 to 22 as far as 1 year experience here in America. So now integrity, the more associates we have, the better for us, because we take $1 to $2 off of every employee's hourly rate every single hour. That goes into the company, and then the rest goes to them. So let's take $10. We take $1 off, $9 an hour. So that's still, let's say, 19, 20 bucks an hour. Right? You could live comfortably on that 1 year experience. The salary increases and bonuses, whatever you guys do locally, it's the same thing with your offshore team. You don't have to give as much because the dollar goes a lot further over there. So if you give $1,000 bonus to your team for meeting a certain KPI, give your offshores. If you want to give them 1,000, give them 1,000, but that their rent's paid for the whole year. It's just ridiculously cheap to live out there. But that's the price that you'll pay us. So if you determine salary increase, awesome. You give them $1 salary, 80% would go to them, 20% to integrity. So that's how we're not going to raise your rate, but you're treating them like your own employee. That's how we get paid. And that's our model. That's why we have no other fees, no upfront charges or anything.
And are you guys providing them benefits and on top of that?
Yeah. So that's why they have to sign a 3-year contract, because we'll pull somebody from the Big Four. The Big Four pay about $6 an hour, but people want to work for them, right? We're paying $10 an hour. That's a huge difference. So we offer benefits for them, and at a certain time point, they actually get benefits for their entire family. And the healthcare system out there is as ridiculous as it is here. So having that option is very appealing. They also have a sliding scale, a compensation package, and they get paid no matter if they're working or not. It's just on a scale. So it encourages them to get in front of more interviews, to work on their resume, get work so they get more money. But that's why we have the agreement in place, because we already pay more, the benefits. It's fun to work for us. You'll see some links. We have a very awesome work culture out there. And so people want to come and work. So that's some insight there.
What's the average size of U.S. accounting firm that you're working with, number of people?
If I had to put a number on it, probably around 30 to 40,
Okay.
right? Because I have hundreds of sole practitioner clients, and I have a few dozen 500 plus person firms, just to put things in perspective. And then I have in between a couple dozen, 100, 200, 300. So if I actually had to put a number on it, it's on average 30 to 40 at this point. When I first started, average firm size was probably like 10. It's grown rapidly.
In this pricing model, is this commitment for next year, or is this where you are now?
This is right now. Yeah. If we meet again in December, it could change. Right. So our pricing model, we're looking at, I mean, I used to spend about 10 minutes describing it, which is finally gone. We pretty much simplified. We used to have 10 hours, we used to have 30 hours, we used to have short-term, long-term, on-demand. I've never liked it. And this is what I love, is the simplicity of it. So, but whatever you're paying us, that's what you'll pay us. And then, like I said, the salary increases. But yeah, this could change in a couple months. But as of now, this is what we have.
Do you see clients
How-
utilizing this as a like stopgap, where it's a short-term arrangement with you? Or what's kind of the average retention of your clients? Or are they like, once you sign up, people love it and they just kind of stay on, they keep the employees going throughout ongoing relationship?
Yep. 92% client retention rate. And that includes tax clients. So tax is the number one service. We work with a lot of just tax only firms. So what happens, right? They just need us for season. So that's why you'll see in the fine print, all pricing US dollars, all inclusive, replacements provided if you're not happy, and there's a 60-day notice. So that's why we have in there. There's no agreement with integrity. It goes month to month. Okay. However, if you wanted to stop services for whatever reason at any point in time, we require a 60-day notice. For seniors, 5+ years is a minimum 6-month agreement if you hire. There's never a cost or obligation if you don't hire. So again, 60-day notice is pretty much for our tax line. So call us, need them February to April, and they're done, which is fine. You're just not guaranteed that same employee if you call us back. And then the senior 6 month from if you hire.
Great. Yeah, if you could send these slides to us, that would be great. Any
I have
other
a
questions from
comprehensive
anybody
email.
else?
Yeah, and I'm your resource, all right, for you folks here. So if you need documents, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you want to speak privately, if you want to bring somebody else on a call, just utilize me, right? I've always told clients this. And if you're trying to get buy-in from somebody and you're saying it, and just involve me. I mean, just what I do all day long to help you out. But yeah, I will send over an email. If I miss somebody, just forward it, but it's going to be very comprehensive. It'll have the deck here. If you need anything else, just let me know. All right.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your guys' time too. Thank you for being very engaged.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you.
talk
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Be
All right,
well,
have a good week.
everyone. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.